Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines transition as a passage from one state, stage, subject, or place to another. It also defines it as a movement, a development, or an evolution from one form, stage, or style to another. When we talk about transition from a transgender perspective, most people think about what is seen physically. A transition of the body, a transition of clothing and mannerisms. But those are just external things, some of which can be done or not done, and still achieve transition. To me, what is important in transition is an acceptance of oneself. That acceptance can be made in the absence of surgery and regardless of the gender expression someone wishes to adopt. Gender expression, after all, exists on a sliding scale for all of us, whether cisgender or trans. The gender of the individual remains, regardless of the clothing being worn or the mannerisms that may have been adopted. My gender isn't dependent on my clothes, my makeup, or my shoes. I do love shoes, though. I believe gender is a matter of how we process information. It's very well known that men and women think differently. It's a common complaint of women that they can't understand men, and a common complaint of men that they can't understand women. And that is because we process information differently. My difficulties navigating this life have been because it was expected that I should think like a man, when the simple fact is I think like a woman, and that is what encompasses my gender. When I was in the military and trying to run for my gender, I could do my job very well, because women are just as capable of being a good soldier as men are. But what was difficult for me, and something I never managed to do, was build the camaraderie with the men I was going through so much with, because the fact is, I simply couldn't understand them. Transition is an evolution, and if you believe that centers most heavily around the body and clothes, you would be mistaken. The biggest piece for me has been to allow my brain to function the way it was supposed to have all along, and simply stop fighting it. As a result, I don't rethink things to match something that would resemble more male. I no longer second guess as to whether something I say or do is acceptable. I just do. And as a result, I've thrived this last year. I'm far more outgoing than I ever have been in my whole life. I have far less fear. And I am far less awkward in social situations. In short, I can accomplish far more as the woman I am, rather than the man I tried so hard to pretend to be. I've had no surgery, and there's a good chance I never will. But you know what? I've transitioned.